Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is February 10th, 2011, and this is episode 197. Today we're taking a look at the Frost Giant's daughter, and it's part of the Cimmerian, however you say it. It is a Robert E. Howard Savage Hero Uncensored. So I'll have to put a 18 above a remark on my video here. This is the third issue of the arc of Ablaze. It is the final issue of this arc, I might add. And it's been written and drawn by Robin Richt. I believe I'm saying that correctly. On the cover, we see this very snowy atmosphere with the Frost Giant's daughter, embraced with our hero Conan here. This actually does not happen in the book. In fact, there's almost this adversarial relationship going on throughout, which is started at the end of the first issue. This is a recommend, so please run out and get this. It's really good. The art in it is spectacular. I think this cover has been done by somebody else, though. Let's see if we can figure that out. Cover artist is Dan Panosian. All right. So, if you recall, Conan started out, he was in this big battle against this other group, and he was the lone survivor on this frozen lake. Then this goddess, which is the Frost Giant's daughter, the Frost Giant being Ymir, has been taunting him all along, and he has had to go through quite a bit trying to track her down and take her as his woman, as the spoils from the battle that he has won. So these two were apparently the lone survivors. Now he has just crawled out of this deep crevasse in which he was plunged into this pool of water that had all these other dead soldiers in it as well, grabbing at him. He was able to break free, lose his armor, come on the top, and he is crawling out now, and he's beset by the Frost Giant's daughter plus her two brothers, who happen to be these enormous polar bears. Now Conan has just been pretty much, he is just wiped out. He's expended almost all his energy, but he has that fire that burns within him. Still, he collapses for a moment, and the Frost Giant's daughter, Attila, I think her name is Attilia, it's something like that, believes that this will be a present to her father. So she actually comes over to him and stands over him and gloats, and she tells the story of her father in this brief narrative here, and just really gets in his face about it. But then all of a sudden he starts to stir, and she summons her brothers, the two polar bears, to take his heart. But Conan will have none of that, of course. And as you can see, you get this tom-tom. They overdid the tom-tom. It gets even heavier throughout. Tom-tom. I don't know if that's his heart beating. That's what I believe it is. At first I thought it was the bears making the noise. So she summons her brothers to attack him, basically. And to her horror, Conan is going to fight back. And fight back he does. You see this tom-tom. She's asking him to submit. He's not going to submit. And this tom-tom gets a little crazy. This is probably the one thing I didn't care for in here. It kind of spoils the beautiful artwork underneath. It's driving her insane with the noise, and he's attacking the two bears himself. And you can see he gets even more tom-tom. This page is almost, you can't really tell what even happened. All we know that is Conan has defeated the two polar bears, and the Frost Giant's daughter is looking on in horror, and it's all she can do to try to stay away from him as he crawls, stands up, goes after her. And just as he gets to her, and stands above her, is actually able to remove the small veil that is covering her Netherlands. There's a big lightning bolt that comes from above. It seems that Attila has summoned her father to help save him. And arrive he does, and just in the nick of time before Conan can take her for his own. And this father becomes this giant image above the snow peak where Conan and the Attila are. Attila just jumps right at him, doesn't care. Sword in hand. You can see this very small, just really cool, nice stuff. And then we get this sudden peace that has come over the land with this rolling red in the background. And then suddenly we're brought back to where the frozen lake where Conan had been the victor, and his fellow soldiers who were delayed by an ambush show up and they revive him. And he tells the tale that for 2 days he's been tracking down the frost giant's daughter. And they don't believe him. They say, "No, you've just been here a few minutes. The dead bodies here are still warm." And he talks about it, tells them, and they don't believe it. It seems like it has been just one gigantic hallucination until he holds up the loincloth, the metal chain that was holding the veil above her crotch area up to proof that he had come in contact with the Frost Daughter. And she looks off solemn in the distance, knowing that there's somebody that is very strong out there, and he's not a god, but he's got great will. Just a beautiful story. Just love this thing. It is a recommend. If I haven't said so already, you should get all 3 issues if you can. I think this is going to be one of those that'll probably be worth something in the future. And just to go on, we get Unsacred, another blurb on this, which I'm not too crazy about. It's a Mirka Andolfo comic where the devil is henpecked by the angel, basically. A little blurb here about Gung Ho that came out last month, and some cover art here, some beautiful cover art. Next issue for the Cimmerian is Iron Shadows in the Moon, so we get a different female here, and this looks pretty intense as well. I'm not sure if Robin Recht will be working on this one, but I will be checking this one out for sure, just because this run was very good, and only 3 issues, but it was intense, beautiful art throughout. Let me see if we can get a little more eye candy here. I think this is the one that just some beautiful landscape. You don't see that in a comic book. You don't even see that in many illustrated books. So there you go. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching this review. As always, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you farewell from the Temple of Tomes and bidding you adieu.